Hey, everybody, we're live. Call meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda? Yes, no?
Yes.
Motion to accept the agenda as presented. Council Warwick,
Motion.
all in favor? Carried. Delegations. No, just observe. Okay. Public presentations. Perfect.
Yes, sorry,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, I can start out, right?
That's good, thank you. So the reason I wanted to speak tonight is because of I watched the meeting, the information meeting at their last month, July, with Mr. Mindor and was presenting. And I heard the questions raised. Do we know all the information? Do we know the questions to ask? And I thought, I have time. I can do some of this stuff and maybe share some information with you. The decision that will be made about the solar plant may or may not be in our hands, but we will all come and go. But that project out there will be on that land probably forever. It will affect that piece of land probably forever. And why is Canada the only country desperately trying to find wind and solar to get us to net zero? Other countries are already banishing it. They're debunking the climate crisis. In fact, there are liability suits being brought against companies who are trying to enforce it. So from the presentation, I accept Mr. Mindor's knowledge, experience, and the bright future he wants to see. A lot of his information is guesses, expectations, affiliations, income, output, agriculture involvement. Tax revenue was one that came up. And I just did a little bit of research. In one municipality was to receive $6+ million in tax revenue per year. It was paid in portions only, and by year 7 had reduced to $200,000. So from 6 million to 200,000 in 7 years, that's quite a tax reduction of income for that community. Employment he mentioned, and I wondered, I've asked, haven't had an answer yet, if through Youngstown, which is operational, but has yet to produce any energy to the grid, how many employees they used locally for the construction, because that's part of the offers is the employment, and how many employed within the community now for maintenance and security. That should be something that's easy to find out, hopefully. The reclamation value, they hope for it to become increase a lot, but there's only 2 companies in Alberta that will even consider dismantling these, and it's very expensive to remove anything worth the value, and the biggest part of it still goes to landfill. So though there might be some, it's not being done yet. It's not being done in Alberta, and it's going to be very expensive to do. Some solar companies are already, after 1 or 2 years, asking that their tax bill reduced, some as much as 50%. The cost of solar and wind is expected to rise. If you've watched the G20 or interested in what's happening in Africa and all the countries, they're kicking out our countries, the Western countries, from stealing and utilizing all their minerals and liquids. So we're not going to get it anymore. It's not going to be free. It's not going to be cheaper because they have slave labor. And Africa, these countries are saying, get out. We'll tell you what you can buy from our country, but you'll not come here. And that's not just Canada, that's all of them. As far as school, university, college participations, I understand again, that's a wish, that participation, but to date, there is no study, no in Alberta or Canada actually, involving students for study regarding agriculture, the land value, or anything. Mr. Mindor talked about the importance of solar and agriculture combinations. He presented to a committee in December 22, and I'll leave all this information with him. He has a lot of great ideas, The crops he mentioned, broccoli, basil, ginseng, and long cane raspberries, are certainly not something that we grow in Alberta. So again, the studies in Alberta for this working here do not exist. Same with the hydroponic gardening suggestions and livestock grazing. The billboard panel style, I was confused because he said if we change the billboard panel styles, panels, they would increase by 3 feet higher or 3 meters higher. And have room for a combine or what have you to go through. And then yet when one of the pilots asked how tall the panels would be, he said no more than 3 meters. So it's just something that didn't make sense to me.
Kaylin, that's 5, give you 2.5 up.
There are 3 Brooks existing solar projects already in being. A meeting is held at AUC in January for the decommissioning of those. The ASEO site shows that even Vulcan, the biggest one supposedly in North America or Canada, has yet to reproduce or offer any energy to our grid lines, and actually they had promised to sell there directly to Amazon. There's one kind of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions related? None. 5.01 minutes of the regular meeting of August 8th, 2023. Any questions, errors, or omissions? Motion to accept them as presented. Kevin, Ms. Council Olson, all in favor? Carried. Minutes of the information meeting, August 30th, 2023. Motion to accept. Councilor Thurl, all in favor? Carried. Accounts payables. Everybody had a chance to look through them. Any questions, concerns?
I did have. I had a question regarding, 042789, the Angela Rocks, there's no indication as to what the description was for the energy.
Sorry, it's missing. It was a Epic Adventures refund.
That was.
And I think part of the problem, I look at Caitlin, put her on the spot, is we did produce a check for her earlier. But this might have been the one that they lost, so she apologized, so we stopped work order and had to reissue another. But it was for an Epic Adventure for their kids.
Thank you.
It's one, the yard cleanup, the bylaw yard cleanup. For Janelle Louder there, that gets cleaned up and put on taxes, or
Eventually, they get it invoiced first. If they don't pay the invoice in a timely manner, then it gets put on taxes.
Yep.
Any others? Motion to accept the accounts payable listing general account, check number 42783 to 42815, and direct deposits 002317 to 00286 for information. Councilor Murphy, all in favor? Carried. Statement of revenue. Questions, concerns? Seeing none, council accept the statement of revenue and expense report for August 2023 for information. Council Kroll, all in favor? Carried. Budget overview. Looks like we're having a good year at Fox Lake again.
You're staying open for a while?
We've made the decision, we're gonna stay open till the end of September. So, all of the campers who are out there, who are contractors, are aware of that and are good with that, that they alternate arrangements, for October 1st, so. It just gets to a point, if we don't have enough, that you're losing money by staying open, so. But end of September is when we'll close, and then we'll winterize and get everything ready for the winter, so.
Anything else? Also accept budget overview for August 2023 for information, motion.
You don't see Counselor Thurl, you gotta.
Counselor Thurl, sorry.
Okay, I'll give it.
All in favor? Carried. Senior administrative officials reports.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just highlight a few areas. So the Prairies Can application for funding for our downtown redevelopment project has been submitted. So it's in the hands of Prairies Can to do their review. Not expecting a quick turnaround from them, but probably expecting some questions back and forth or clarifications back and forth over the next few months. Palliser and Pioneer Trail. So they've been doing some testing on the existing pavement and the existing base. They are actually surprised and happy that it seems that there is reasonable remaining strength in those roads. They do want to move forward, and they are going to move forward with some test holes just to gauge the pavement strength risk. Their concern right now is that if they do a mill and overlay, they're just gonna basically replace what was there, and that's got enough strength to continue to move forward. If it does, that's good news, because it means reduces the cost of the project significantly if they don't have to mess around with the base. So they're gonna be doing that here shortly. Airport runway lighting project, just to confirm, we had dates were changing back and forth fast last week, but unfortunately, they will not have the new lights, and they're missing a piece of electrical equipment until they're thinking mid-October. So I have let all of our local pilots know, and I have put on the NOTAM so that people know that there are no lights. They're scheduling or trying to fly in. So they originally had indicated they thought they might be able to take the old lights and reuse them with the new stuff, but after they took all our old lights down, they said they're not worth putting back up again. So we'll hope, again, supply chain, we hope that it will come, because it is, they've been done their work out there for, well, probably 3 weeks now, and we're looking at 4 weeks until delivery, so.
Just one thing, sorry to back you up.
Yeah.
So on the Palliser Pioneer, is that partially because we've been so dry, or would that be part of the compaction factor? Brent, you might be better.
I don't think so. I think the base was probably done relatively
Okay,
well.
no, it was just a question.
It's had a lot of heavy truck traffic on it over the years, and so they.
Okay, so
They did. it's the ground penetrating radar test that they do, and that's what it's coming back, that it's showing good strength, so which is good.
Okay, sorry about
No, that's what these are for. The Pioneer Trail Bridge replacement, so they are gonna provide a report on culvert versus a bridge replacement. But I also authorized another bridge inspection. So they're hoping to do that here before the end of the month. I didn't put a time frame on it. Because if we wanted them to do it right away, then we would have paid more, but if they can fit it in at a different time, they would get a better rate. So we had a bridge inspection done about 3 years ago, and that's what we've been using as part of our grant application. And hasn't been cutting the mustard in terms of being in poor enough condition that they've been wanting to approve it. So this will give us an opportunity to see if there has been any deterioration of the structure, and B, if it has, that's good news and bad news. So that should be happening before the end of the month. Tax recovery auction, so we did hold it yesterday. We had no one in attendance.
Really? I'm so
So-
surprised. Wow.
So all those 3 properties that were up for auction, administration's plan will be to bring a report to council for the October council meeting, and get direction from council if they wish to take title to those properties, so. But yeah, no one attended. We had someone pick up some information on them about half an hour before, and they were going to check them out, but they never did come back, so.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Neal, do you, is it because of the shape that these properties are in? They're in such bad shape, most of them, or dilapidated
Definitely,
beyond,
that's part of the,
and
that's
the
part-
money for restoration may be beyond what everybody wants to spend.
yeah. And the other challenge through the tax recovery auction
Can't see
is
them.
that it's sight unseen.
Sight unseen.
You know, you can see the outside, but you can't get inside and see the inside. So, you know, it does secure the opportunity for them. If they really want that property, they can buy it at the tax auction. But if council takes title to it and we do put it up and list it, chances are it will be sold at a lesser value. And you as if we are the owner, we can allow people to go in and look at it, so they feel much more comfortable
Yeah, for sure.
moving forward. But that's probably a lot of it is most of them definitely need some significant work.
Well, the one there'll be some environmental.
Well, the
Sure.
one could be, yeah.
Yeah.
The one commercial one, yeah. So nothing there, but we'll be back in October to talk about that. So I think that's it from my report. Just when I looked at Kevin's and Michelle's, so obviously we're in the transition between summer and winter, so we're finishing off irrigation systems. Rodeo is obviously this weekend, and it's the quick turnaround to the rummage sale, and then the quick turnaround to ice going in. So his crew's gonna be busy until the ice gets in and gets settled, and going from there. But other than that, I mentioned to council before, we had I think a good season at the pool and a good season at the spray park. They were finishing winterizing the spray park today, so we're just moving forward in those areas. And we talked earlier about Fox Lake, so we're looking to close on the 30th. So Michelle's report, a couple of notes. They did have their fall register last week, and sounds like there were lots of new families in town, lots of new families looking for activities. So she said it was really nice to see. Drive happiness, still struggling a little bit. We do have one more driver. So I think from what I can tell in discussions, the local calls for service are being answered fairly consistently. It's just the ones we're still having significant trouble with is if someone wants to go out of town. The drivers we have are yeah, I'll pick you up and take you to get groceries, or I'll pick you up and take you to go to the doctor. But when they want to go to a doctor's appointment out of town, we're missing that key link in the system right now, so. But we do have another driver who just went through the process and got signed up, so we're up to, I believe, 4 drivers now, so. Don't know if there's much more. We'll report on Epic, as well as some of the programs that are upcoming, and the fact that we're lucky to have a number of options to help families with registration costs, whether it's Kids Sport or the Community Youth Fund, and we did work with some of our agencies in terms of family plunge cards, and we're able to help them out this summer as well, so. But I'm prepared to answer any questions council may have on any of that.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, sorry.
the downtown redevelopment project.
Yeah.
I have a question about the vague timing as to how long the roads will be closed. I know it's caused some concerns, as you know, from your meeting with a few of the retail stores who rely heavily on their foot traffic to have access. Now, I understand it is something that's possible if it's closed for an extended period of time, and it does affect a retail store's income level based on statistical, that they can actually request and receive compensation from the municipality through the Expropriations Act. Is that correct?
That I'm not sure, Council Murphy, I don't know that for sure. And as far as the timing, it's estimated that each block, they're gonna do 1 block at a time.
Mhm.
So it's estimated each block will be 6 weeks to 2 months. And again, that's fenced off, but that doesn't take sidewalk. Sidewalk access will be available 95% of the time. It's just they won't be able to pull up right in front, get out and go in. They'll have to pull on a side street, or in the event that they're close to the parking lot behind the library, they can park there, come across. But the sidewalks will be open majority of the time. But the vehicle traffic will be reduced and blocked.
It may be something that is going to be brought up. So would it be possible to pursue looking into whether or not that's something? Is there funding available for that through any other programs? But it's going to impact especially the retail stores on that street for people who have mobility issues. And one of the stores in particular provides medical to people who have mobility issues. So it is a very deep concern, as you know, from meeting with that one store owner. And from what I've read, it looks like it's something that might come up. So if we could provide them with information in advance, it would reduce the animosity, the frustrations, and the anxiety that some of them have.
So just a question for you then, what type of information in advance were you looking for?
If the street is closed for 6 weeks and their income on average is $10,000 a week, and it's $3,000 a week during that period of time, that they could be compensated for the part that they're missing.
So my understanding, and I'm not gonna say that I know it inside and out, my understanding would be if there was any compensation to be awarded, would be a decision of council. And it would be Town of Hanna dollars. If Town of Hanna Council made a decision to provide financial compensation to businesses, that would be a decision council made. There won't be any grants or any other dollars available. That would be a decision of council if they chose to make that decision to compensate businesses.
It may reduce the litigations that will come up. And there will be some, from what I understand, on the basis of it's not 2 or 3 days, it's 6 weeks. And it could be enough that many of the businesses in Hanna are literally going week to week. And being closed for 6 weeks or having limited access for that period of time can cause them to go through litigation. So I'm just trying to protect council and the town from legal fees that could be much more than if we offered. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
If I may make a comment, it may not be 6 weeks, it might be less, might be more. They may or may not lose money.
Yep.
I think, looking after, taxpayers' money, I personally would like to see factual information than, assumptions that, they will lose money. There's not a definite that they will. They might lose some money, but I'd rather see facts and figures instead of perception and assumptions that they will. And it will disrupt everybody. But to make a commitment that we are going to cover losses when we don't even know what those losses are.
No commitment was ever, that was not a word I used at all.
Yeah, I never said it was, that was my word. But that is what I assumed that the individuals were looking at when we met with them at the Legion and heard the discussion that you were referring to. So my concern is making an assumption, and I'd rather see the facts. I think it was important.
But just to reiterate, Council Murphy, that is certainly in the purview of council.
Yep.
That certainly would be up to them, up to council if they chose to want to do that, so.
I also had a comment, I was at a meeting this morning and understood that the school has about 27 new students, which I thought was pretty awesome to see that as a result of people moving to Hanna, that our numbers are showing a slight increase, and I think that's good news.
Yeah, definitely.
Funny you'd mentioned people moving to Hanna. A guy stopped his shop today for propane. They sold their house on July 31st, bought a motorhome, and they've been just living in their motorhome at Fox Lake and spent some time in town. And he asked me just out of the blue what Hanna has to offer. And I said, well, actually, I am the mayor. And he looks at me, he smiles, and he said, seriously? I said, seriously. As we have everything you need in town here. I said, the most appealing part of it is our pricing of our housing right now. And he said, I looked online, he said, you can buy a very nice house in town for $200,000-$300,000. I said, yeah, no, for sure you can. He said, how cold does it get here? And I'm like, that's the kicker. He said, where we're from in Ontario, he said, we have 2 or 3 days below -20. I said, we can have 2 or 3 weeks like that, I said. So, but yeah, it was kind of just.
But it's a dry cold. It's a dry cold.
Yeah. But it was interesting to have somebody from outside just inquire out of the blue about moving to Hanna again. So we're doing something right. I'd like to know how these people are finding us and back to the mark with the economic development is that it's so hard to measure it. Like,
I think that has a good to do with it, being the exposure and the promotion and that sort of thing.
okay. Sorry
One
about
more,
that.
Mr. Mayor.
Sorry.
Mummy, what was the expiry of the lease next door? When is that?
End of this month.
Okay. And is it being advertised yet or wait till it's
I'm
empty?
gonna wait till it's, yeah.
Looking to open another business?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Lori's report, has everybody had a chance to preview it? Oh, go ahead, Council.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just read the portion about the new projector.
Councilor Carroll?
Oh, I was wondering, as you guys get any applications for any of the positions on the boards? Like the community service board? Oh,
Yeah, and we did have some, so we will bring those, first of all, what we do is, for example, anybody who applied to the Hanna Medical Clinic Board or the Big Country Housing Authority. So we send those applications to them. And we basically say, we've got 3 applications. You can only recommend one. You know, I'll have your board recommend to council who. And so we're in that process now. There are still some boards, I believe the library board and the community services board, that still have vacancies, but the others, Big Country Housing, Medical Clinic, can't remember if there's any other, Free to Cooter. I think they all will be full, and we'll bring appointment recommendations at the organizational meeting in October, so.
Do you have at least one library board application, correct?
Yes, we did send one to Jen. I believe it is a renewal application. It wasn't a new one. I'm looking at one over because the only application I believe that we're aware of was only a renewal of an existing board member.
Oh, there was a lady who was presenting at our meeting and was quite disappointed that she was never appointed to the library board because she applied, did all the paperwork
How long ago was that?
earlier this year, last fall. And I thought, we needed somebody, so.
I don't recall seeing any
You know, the
applications.
same
No.
young lady felt that one girl felt the shop, had the same discussion with me, and she said she's too busy now, so,
Oh, no, this one actually is still interested.
okay.
I have her name. So I'll give it.
She can bring in an application in any time,
She already did, so it's kind of embarrassing to make her do it
but
again.
if we don't have it, there's nothing we can move forward. You can say that if she dropped one off or
It
sent
just got
one, it
misplaced.
got misplaced, but
You
I
got
don't
it.
recall seeing one, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Olson,
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing really to add to my report, other than you can see the sidewalk guys, they showed up this week, so they're busy tearing out, and then Brooks will follow right in behind. Once they kind of finish and we get some backfilling done.
there are lots of sidewalks in town. My wife has decided I need to walk.
Yes.
Not that funny, Gary. On your faded signs, I have noticed that there are some that were getting pretty bad.
And we have a list, and whenever we get a chance, Paul's out doing them, so.
No, I was, when you mentioned it, was one of the things while we're walking that hey, so. Anything else? Oops. Hearing none, council accepts the administrative report, officials report 8.01 to 8.03 as presented for information. Motion, Council Bowden, all in favor? Carried. Council information meeting cancellation. September 27th, that's for obvious reasons. We will all be together in Edmonton, I believe.
Well, 6 of 7 right
6
now.
to 7 right now.
I won't be able to attend, Mr. Neal.
Oh, you're out now?
There's no way I can go.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have.
Okay, so motion to cancel the October 27th information session meeting,
September, yeah.
September 20, yeah. They say,
So you're a definite no.
I'm a definite no. I,
okay, Council Olson. All in favor? Carried.
so I'll be here if anybody needs anything done.
Taxation report.
So, Mr. Mayor, just for your information, August 31st was our tax payment deadline. So, as of September 1st, there was 4% penalty. Anything still outstanding October 1st, 4%, and then 5% on January 1st. So as of the end of August 23, there was 828,000 outstanding. Although 445 is included in that, which are people on the monthly tax payment plan. So you take that off, which we will get between now and December, and we're down to 383,000. We have sent out letters to those who didn't pay, and some of them forgot. We've had them in and they've moved forward. So we've had several in since September 1st, and so that number will be reduced from there. So just wanted to no rhyme or reason or hard facts that I can tell you what it's going to look like at the end of the year, but just kind of a comparison to.
Was that really consistent with years past then?
We only started doing this report a few years ago. So last year, as you can see, we were at 718 as of the end of August versus 828. So we're up on just over 100,000 more there. But some of that gets to be if someone hasn't paid 1 year and they haven't paid the next year, it just keeps adding and keeps growing. So it might be similar, same number of properties, but I know there's always people who forget and they come in shortly thereafter to make their payments and move forward. So I don't know if it's too out of line, Mr. Mayor, but certainly we'll have a better idea at year end. So
Just the,
Sorry, land titles is obviously a big issue. So my place I bought in April. And I received land titles the same day I got the letter telling me I'm behind on my taxes. So it took April, May, June, July, August, September, 6 months to get land titles.
Yeah.
So anybody who's purchased a home in the last 6 months is just getting land titles now.
yeah, but what happens generally, Councilor Murphy, what happens generally when you purchase that house, when the lawyers do up the paperwork, somebody is responsible for the taxes. So you're either getting paid, you're gonna pay the taxes and they're giving you a credit on your share or vice versa. So, yeah, that's catches majority of those, I do believe, even though the actual title hasn't been registered with land titles. So.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, so what's our process? I mean, this looks substantial to me to have this much outstanding in taxes.
It's not that much out of the ordinary, Councilor Warwick, to be honest. Like I said, even if we didn't get any more payments in September, we would be at 383. We've already had several tax payments come in September once they got their letter and they realized they forgot to pay their taxes. So it's just something to keep our eye on. Certainly, and the process certainly is if they don't pay, obviously they're penalized. And once they get into third year of being in arrears, that's when they will continue to send them notifications. But we'll send them notifications that they're going on the tax arrears list. We'll send them notifications that they're going on the tax recovery auction. So and then sometimes people will come up right the day before tax recovery auction and pay their taxes. So I wouldn't be alarmed, but it's just wanted to provide that for information.
Any more questions, concerns? Motion that council accepts 2023 taxation report from commission. Councilor Cole, all in favor? There. ATCO electric franchise fee.
So every fall around this time, we get requests from ATCO and Apex, and they're both in the agenda package. Whether council wishes to change the franchise fee rate. There's a process that is required to go through. Council, last year, we chose to leave franchise fees the same. Administration is recommending that we leave franchise fees the same again. I know when, people get their gas bill or their power bill, and there's lots of other distribution, transmission charges. If we, increase our rate, we're adding to those affordability issues. So, administration is recommending that we leave it at 7.5. I think looking at some of the comparators in our region, we're probably midway. Certainly there's some that are higher than us, but there's some that are. So I think we're kind of middle of the road in regards to that. I know a number of municipalities do use their franchise fee as a subsidization of the tax revenue. And a lot of them you'll see, especially even when we look at the Apex side, they're 27, 30, 35%. And they feel they get better bang for their buck through the franchise fee revenue than from an increase in taxes. And that's probably as a result of, we know with taxes, municipal properties are exempt, hospitals, schools, all that are exempt. When you put the franchise fee on the utilities there, everyone's paying that. So it kind of gives you a bigger bang for your buck. But I think we're in a decent spot, Mr. Mayor, and I wouldn't recommend. Timing for this is always funny because it's before we're going into budget and need to kind of know how much we need or don't need. But as we go through the next year's budget, keep that in mind. If dollars are tight, this is always an option to try and generate some additional dollars. Again, it's not on your taxes, but it is a form of taxation. There's no doubt it's coming from our residents, and it's coming out of their pocketbooks. So we're recommending that we leave it the same at this point in time.
I'll make that motion.
Council Warwick makes motion, council accept ATCO Electric franchise fee report, information and direct administration inform ATCO Electric that the town of Hanna will not be requesting an increase to the franchise fee for 2024 and current at a rate of 7.5%. Council Warwick make motion, all in favor?
So just as an example, Mr. Mayor, so every 1% in franchise fees with ATCO Electric would bring in about $32,000 more. So, so just to keep that in mind as we move forward, we currently are estimating in 2022, we got 234,000 from ATCO Electric through the franchise fee. So,
Okay. 9.04 Apex, similar.
that one is a rate of 17.5. Gas is a little bit different. Their rate is capped at 35%, power is capped at 20. So it's probably, even though it's 17.5, it's 50% of what could be. And when we're looking at electric at 7.5, we're just under the 50% there. So again, same premise. Don't have as many comparators in our region because Apex doesn't serve as many customers. But those comparators that I got are the closest ones there. You can see we're at 17.5%. Drumheller's 27, Stetler's 30, Three Hills is 9. So we're kind of in the middle again, some higher than us, some lower than us. And again, we brought in $276,000 through Apex through natural gas franchise fees in 2023. So every percent, is additional 19,000. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. It is a potential additional revenue stream if council needed to look at that. So
Any questions? Motion. Council Murphy. Council accepts. Council accepts Apex Utilities franchise fee for information and direct administration to appoint Apex Utilities at the town of Hanna will not be requesting an increase for the franchise fee for the 2024 season, and our current rate will remain at 17.5%. All in favor? Carried. Council reports. Questions, concerns?
Things are probably just starting to ramp up probably after summer. And just the other thing that this just reminded me too, so next meeting, our October 10th meeting is our organizational meeting as well. So that's where we will appoint members to committees and boards, so. If you get a chance to have that discussion with Mayor Pavischuk in terms of whether you're happy where you're at, whether you'd like changes, again, it's a very difficult position for the mayor to be in terms of trying to find boards and committees that work for everybody, but certainly if you have a concern and on where you might be appointed to come the next org meeting, please reach out to Mayor Pavischuk.
Council Crowe, anything? Council Orwick?
Yes, we had our, Palisar Economic Partnership, meeting this past, Friday in, Dutchess. It changes around. We are supposed to have a meeting here on December 8th. Hannah's supposed to be hosting. Unfortunately, I'm not available, so I've asked if that could be,
Oh, okay.
that allocation could be for a different time, so, they didn't decide yet, so I don't know what they're gonna conclude. We, went through a strategic planning process, for a greater part of the day on Friday, which was really great to just, there was several, individuals from different communities that came together and we talked about, just different components within communities, our strengths, our challenges. We talked about some trends and some shifts that are happening. It was kind of really interesting. Overall, I think in remote rural Alberta, we're all looking at kind of the same dynamics. I have a ton of notes on it. I didn't put anything together to share with you, but if there's anything you want to read, or if you want to look at my notes, you're more than welcome to do that. But yeah, other than that, we have Doug Jones as a chair and Barb Kulik, who is our executive director, and she's doing a bang-up job. So we're really happy to have her at the helm now doing the work she's doing. We are not without our challenges, but I think we're in a good position now.
Council Gordon, did you have anything else? Sorry, I didn't mean to skip over you.
That's okay, I think I put enough in.
I wasn't inferring you had nothing to add. I apologize.
Well, I had done the previous month, but I just thought I'd include that in case, and yeah, no.
Council Olsen.
The only thing to add, I guess, the golf course meeting, course officially be October 2nd, open until then.
Closed.
Or
Oh,
open
but
until
till
October
October
2nd. Potential to be a little later depending on weather, of course, and how Kevin can get prepped, but the manager's been there. It's coming up to 2 months now. He's a good fit. He's much reduced staff, but he's changing operations around there enough, and there's some cost savings that he's identified very obviously will need to be done. It's good.
And the shop is coming along according to plan.
Yeah, no doors on it yet. Cement's in. So it'll be closed up before.
So what were they, was it power they were putting through last week, coming from gas from the west side of Pioneer Trail, east side of Pioneer Trail?
Council Murphy.
Not much has happened. I've got a Katie Foundation next week. Of course, Lands Use bylaw tomorrow, and as I said, I'll be around. Unfortunately, I have responsibilities with animals. I have an animal problem.
Council Farrell.
On 18th is going to be our first meeting for the community service board, and we'll see if we've got any new members for that, so. And going to Edmonton, and we'll see, I'll be a little lightheaded tomorrow after blood transfusion.
You're not a transfusion, you're taking a bite.
I might get them to put some more in.
Council Kroll, I regret to inform you, I will not be there tomorrow, so. Just kidding. I will be there tomorrow. Got a busy week with the rodeo. Doing chili cook-off judging and then announcing the winners, and then I gotta do the interviews with the rodeo queens, which is a lot of fun. And then we've got some challenges at the water station with the thermal wall. It's working awesome as far as keeping the heat, and it's just when it's really warm, it's really warm.
It's warming the building.
Yeah, and Garth seems to think we should be able to save probably once we get all the louvers and everything acting properly, we should be able to save somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20% on the utilities. So if it works out, it's gonna be awesome. And he thinks it will. Like he said, he works on it until it gets too warm and then he taps out on it. Our staff at the Water Commission are working a 10-hour day, 4 days a week now. On a trial basis, we're gonna run it for 6 weeks and see how it works out. So far, it seems to be going well, and just something we tried a little bit outside the box. And again, back to, trying something different to make everybody happy. Other than that, that's all I have. Motion to accept the reports as presented. Counselor Farrell, thank you.
Perfect.
That's awesome, buddy. That was awesome. Correspondence.
You didn't vote.
Didn't vote, sorry, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Correspondence, a couple of things, Mr. Mayor, just make a decision tonight, but if council wanted to make a decision on financial assistance requests to the Rotary Queen, we can, or council wishes to bring it back to the next meeting or a future meeting, that's certainly an option. Last year, we did provide a sponsorship to the Rodeo Queen. I think it was
$1,000.
it was $1,000, but I think it was based on how active she had started off and was doing, that council was really impressed with the effort she was putting in. I don't know if you want to wait and see how things are going with the new one, or if council wishes to make a decision tonight or whenever, that's up to you. So
No, Miss Ainsley certainly earned every penny. She was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
But we'll find out on Saturday night who the new one is. But I'm certainly with the right leadership, and they certainly have that with Jolene Warburton. She's been incredible at getting them going to all these events. So I would suspect the new rodeo queen will be just as active as Ainsley.
Yeah, Ainsley left some big shoes to fill.
She did, but I think she's going to be someone who's going to mentor other people. So she's just outstanding.
Myself personally, I'd like to see how active the new queen becomes and respond from there. Just my own personal opinion.
So, Mr. Mayor, if we forget to bring it back, if anyone in council wishes to bring it back up, just let me know and we'll add it to the next agenda.
Can we table it, Ken? Is that what-
Well, we could table it, but you usually table it to a date, right?
Okay.
And if you want to take a little bit of time,
Yep.
So, okay, I just don't want to forget it about
Nope.
it. and
Trust me,
miss out on
Jolene won't let me forget
Okay.
about it.
Okay. Not much else. I did just want to point out, if you do get a chance to go through the RMA report on Family Community Support Services, I think it's an excellent report. Certainly identifies, what we believe is a lack of provincial funding for that program, as well as identifies a lack of provincial support for social services agencies and associated activities, especially in rural areas. So I think very good report. If you get a chance to go through it, I think they nailed it right on the head. And so there may be, I can't remember in the resolutions package for AM if there's a resolution in regards to increased funding or not. I'm sure probably based on the RMA study, there will be one at RMA. So, and there might be some discussion at AM if you're talking with people about the need to see an increase there. And I think it's bigger than the increase just to the FCSS programs. I think the biggest issue, and we're seeing it in our community, is the number of people who are struggling day to day. And a very good example of that is we've seen significant increase in our food bank usage. We've seen obviously the hot meal program that Lynx has started just continues to grow and grow and fill a need and fill a void. And I think those people are people that are getting missed in the system for one reason or another. And you know, hopefully we can, you know, because the premise behind FCSS is that it is preventative. It's not to be involved in what you call core social services and providing funds and providing these other things. It's preventative, but because there's no other services, FCSS agencies are getting drawn into those more and more, and it's a hard thing not to be involved with. And I had this discussion with Michelle Taves the other day. I said the unfortunate part is social services are now becoming more of a municipal responsibility than they should be. They were always a provincial responsibility. Provincial government handled that. They've been lax in dealing with it appropriately, and it's funneling down, and we're seeing it here. And I know we're no different than anywhere else. All other communities are seeing the same thing, and you know, it's not very pleasant, to say the least, but it's a very good report if you get a chance to go through it. So and the last thing that's on there obviously is the meeting request with municipal affairs was denied, so you won't have the opportunity to sit down with Minister McIver face to face. So you might catch him somewhere else, but not an official meeting. So, and that's all the correspondence we had, Mr. Mayor.
I feel the love. Wow.
Well, I'm sure he gets hundreds of requests for that. And, you know, what was it, 2 years ago? So it wasn't like we, you know, that probably factors into it as well, I'm sure. When he looks at, oh, I saw Hanna 2 years ago.
Yeah,
So I haven't seen this community for 5 years, so I'm sure there's some of that takes place.
Council accept correspondence items 12.01, 12.05 information, motion. Council Olson, all in favor? Carried. And we do have a closed session item.
Yes.
I'd ask everybody to please.
Okay, and you can shut down too.